In the third verse of Genesis, a serpent appears, first apparently in legged form. God only knows why he allowed or placed such a creature in the garden. I have long puzzled over the meaning of this. It seems to be a reflection, in part, of the order-chaos dichotomy characterizing all of experience, with paradise serving as habitable order and the serpent playing the role of chaos. The serpent in Eden, therefore, means the same thing as the black dot in the yin side of the Taoist yin-yang symbol of totality. That is, the possibility of the unknown and revolutionary suddenly manifesting itself where everything appears calm. It just does not appear possible, even for God himself, to make a bounded space completely protected from the outside, not in the real world, with its necessary limitations surrounded by the transcendent. The outside chaos always sneaks into the inside, because nothing can be completely walled off from the rest of reality. So, even the ultimate in safe spaces inevitably harbors a snake. There were forever genuine, quotidian reptile snakes in the grass and in the trees of our original African paradise. Even had all those been banished, however, in some inconceivable manner, by some primordial St. George, snakes would have still remained in the form of our primordial human rivals, at least when they were acting like enemies from our limited, in-group, kin-bonded perspectives. There was, after all, no shortage of conflict and warfare among our ancestors, tribal or otherwise. And even if we had defeated all the snakes that beset us from without, reptilian and human alike, we would still not have been safe, nor are we now. We have seen the enemy, after all, and he is us. The snake inhabits each of our souls. This is the reason, as far as I can tell, for the strange Christian insistence made most explicit by John Milton that the snake in the Garden of Eden was also Satan, the spirit of evil itself. The importance of this symbolic identification, its staggering brilliance, can hardly be overstated. It is through such millennia-long exercise of the imagination that the idea of abstracted moral concepts themselves, with all they entail, developed. Work beyond comprehension was invested into the idea of good and evil and its surrounding dreamlike metaphor. The worst of all possible snakes in the eternal human proclivity for evil. The worst of all possible snakes is psychological, spiritual, personal, internal. No walls, however tall, will keep that out. Even if the fortress were thick enough in principle to keep every bad whatsoever outside, it would immediately appear again within. As the great Russian writer Alexander Solzhenitsyn insisted, the line dividing good and evil cuts through the heart of every human being. There is simply no way to wall off some isolated portion of the greater surrounding reality and make everything permanently predictable and safe within. Some of what has been, no matter how carefully excluded, will always sneak back in. A serpent, metaphorically speaking, will inevitably appear. Even the most assiduous of parents cannot fully protect their children, even if they lock them in the basement safely away from drugs, alcohol, and internet porn. In that extreme case, the too cautious, too caring parent merely substitutes him or herself for the other terrible problems of life. This is the great Freudian Oedipal nightmare. It is far better to render beings in your care competent than to protect them. And even if it were possible to permanently banish everything threatening, everything dangerous, and everything challenging and interesting, that would mean only that another danger would emerge, that of permanent human infantilism and absolute uselessness. How could the nature of man ever reach its full potential without challenge and danger? How dull and contemptible would we become if there was no longer reason to pay attention? Maybe God thought his new creation would be able to handle the serpent, and considered its presence the lesser of two evils. Question for parents: do you want to make your children safe or strong?